Welcome back, Chapter 7, Weather on the Wild Side, starting on page 96 of the Kids' Book of Weather Forecasting. Weather on the Wild Side. Do you think predicting the weather ever gets to be a ho-hum routine for weather forecasters? Not with storms around. Believe it or not, storms actually calm the weather down. They're nature's way of bringing back the peace and quiet, but they certainly can be destructive too. When the weather threatens to get wild, people need time to prepare for dangerous weather conditions, so they really depend on weather forecasters for accurate information. Guess the most common storm on Earth. Hint, there are an average of 50,000 of them all over the world every day, adding up to 10 million lightning strikes a day. That's right, thunder and lightning storms are the most common wild weather situations. Lightning and thunder are quite a team. Lightning is flashy and steals the spotlight, but a clap of thunder makes you sit up and pay attention, as air currents and cloud droplets bounce up and down inside a thundercloud. See page 89. Static electricity builds up. You've probably felt static electricity before, when you shuffle across a carpet and then touch something, zap. This same kind of static electricity is released as a very hot flash of light, and we see a bolt of lightning. The heat causes the air to expand so rapidly that it creates a sound just like an explosion, a thunderclap. Recorded in history, the Challenger. Have you ever had an airplane flight delayed or canceled because of bad weather? Weather affects space travel too. Lightning is a serious threat. There can be no lightning within 11.5 miles, 30 minutes prior to launch for a space shuttle launch to go ahead. It wasn't lightning, however, that led to the Space Shuttle Challenger disaster in January 1986. Partly because of cold weather and buffeting winds during the launch, a faulty rubber sealing ring resulted in a gas leak. When the shuttle was launched, the fuel supply ignited in one enormous explosion. All of the astronauts on board were killed. Among them was elementary school teacher Krista McAuliffe, the first civilian selected to go into space. Weather Watchers, Benjamin Franklin. In 1752, Benjamin Franklin decided to fly his kite in a thunderstorm. Definitely not a good thing for you to try, and the rest is history. To see if he could capture electrical energy from the storm, Franklin tied a key to the kite string. As lightning flashed, sure enough, the wet string carried electricity down to the key, and sparks jumped. How far away is the storm? Although lightning and thunder occur at the same instant, you see the flash before hearing the boom. Light travels fast, about 186,000 miles per second, so you see it the instant it happens. But sound moves much more slowly, covering only about 1 mile every 5 seconds. The difference between these two speeds gives us a great way to estimate how far the lightning is from you. Try it. As a bolt of lightning streaks across the sky, begin counting the seconds. One thundercloud, 2 thunderclouds, 3 thunderclouds, and so on until you hear the thunder. If you count 5 seconds, the lightning is only 1 mile away. If you count to 10 seconds, it is 2 miles away, and so on. Quick take forecasts. You've been watching lightning and counting until you hear the thunder. After a few times of counting to only 3 or 4, you notice the next time you make it to 10. Then you count to 15. How far away is the lightning now? Is the storm getting closer or moving away? Is it safe to go outside? Answer. On a count of 15, the lightning is now 3 miles away. The storm is moving away, but it is not gone. Wait at least 30 minutes after the last thunder to go back outside. Lightning safety rules. To stay safe during a thunderstorm, get indoors as soon as possible. If you're far away from any buildings, the next best choice is a car. Don't stand in an open field or a boat or take shelter under a large tree that stands alone. Lightning hits the tallest things first. Don't use any electrical appliances. That includes the cordless phone. Don't swim. Water conducts electricity. Remember, if you can see it, if you can hear it, then flee it. Quick take forecasts. You are the head umpire at a championship softball game. Weather conditions have you wondering if you should postpone the game for safety's sake. Nobody likes to postpone games, and umps are already not the most popular people. So you want to make sure it's totally necessary to call off the game. Which of these two situations would make it necessary to postpone the game? 1. Sweat has been sticking to your skin. Winds are blowing gently south to east, and the barometer is falling. The clouds are puffy and reach high up into the sky. 2. Your cold can of lemonade is covered with beads of condensation. Winds are blowing at high speed east to north, and the barometer is falling. The clouds are puffy and reach high into the sky. You see a streak of lightning, but when you counted, you determined it was 20 miles away. Answers. Hot, humid weather can lead to thunderstorms, and winds from the south to east can bring storms. Plus, falling pressure and cumulus clouds are both signs of approaching storms. But in number 1, the winds are blowing gently, not quickly, so there's probably plenty of time to play the game. In number 2, high winds are blowing, the wind direction calls for rain, plus the barometer is falling. Most important, you have already seen a streak of lightning, and even though it is far away, you never want the players out on the field when there's lightning. Sorry, folks, the game is postponed. Ping pong in the clouds. It seems odd to have balls of ice dropping out of the sky when it's not winter, but hailstorms occur during thunderstorm season, spring, summer, and fall. The top of the huge thunderclouds reach way up into the atmosphere where the temperature is below freezing. As raindrops fall, strong winds blow them up near the top of the thundercloud, where they freeze. Down they come again, getting coated with other raindrops along the way, and the winds push them back up, where they freeze into larger balls of ice. Up and down they bounce, growing larger and larger, until finally gravity pulls these hailstones down. Try it. Slice open a hailstone and you'll see a series of rings like an onion. Count the rings and you'll know how many up and down trips through the thundercloud that hailstone took. Weather records. The largest recorded hailstone fell in Aurora, Nebraska in 2003. It was 18 3/4 inches in circumference and weighed almost 2 pounds. Too much rain. Floods cause more damage and take more lives than any other type of weather disaster. A flood happens when land that is normally dry is suddenly underwater because heavy rain has caused a body of water to rise so fast that it overflows. In severe floods, water can destroy entire towns and ruin huge areas of farmland. Too much rain or too little. A drought is a prolonged period of dry, hot weather and much less rain than normal. Plants, animals, and sometimes people die without enough water to drink. Farmers' crops fail, and this can lead to widespread hunger. Sometimes months or even years go by without sufficient rain. Weather records. The longest drought was in Atacama, Chile. It lasted 400 years. The Dust Bowl, recorded in history. The Dust Bowl was an area of the United States that included parts of Oklahoma, Texas, Colorado, New Mexico, and Kansas. In the early 1900s, farmers plowed up the grasses that grew there naturally and planted wheat. Then, between 1934 and 1937, the region suffered a severe drought. Without water, the wheat didn't grow. Without the grass to hold it in place, the soil literally blew away, ruining farms from Texas all the way to Canada. The dust storms were so big, you could see them from hundreds of miles away, so you can see how this region got its nickname. Eventually, the federal government stepped in to replant grass and trees. Farmers learned the hard way how important those prairie grasses were and changed their farming methods. Heavy rain and cold temperatures equal snowstorm. Snow is such fun to play in. How could it be dangerous? In snowy conditions, driving a car can be tricky, especially if there is a whiteout, where winds whip the snow around in the air so you can barely see in front of you. Sometimes the snow gets deep so quickly that even emergency vehicles get stuck. The weight of snow can cause roofs to collapse, and it can bring down tree branches and power lines. When heavy snow combines with winds of at least 35 miles per hour and temperatures are less than 20 degrees Fahrenheit, you've got a blizzard. A heavy snowstorm in the New England and mid-Atlantic states in the United States is called a nor'easter. Northeast winds pick up lots of moisture as they move over the Atlantic Ocean, and the moisture becomes snow when it hits the East Coast and cools down. Weather records. The most snow from one storm fell on Mount Shasta in California, February 13th through the 19th, 1959, a whopping 189 inches. Come back for part 2.